Before we get into the rest of the previously filmed show, some news came across the wire right before I was about to hit publish on said video. Zack Martin, per NFL Network, has informed the Cowboys he is going to retire this offseason, ending what should no doubt be a Hall of Fame career. This is not really a surprise to anyone. I made the comment multiple times. Once you start talking about if you don't know if you're going to retire or not, it probably means you're going to end up retiring. The Cowboys have built the contract to anticipate this. It was kind of designed for a potential retirement. All the numbers you've seen salary cap-wise will not be changing with the Zack Martin retirement. This is how it was always going to go. They'll just delay his guaranteed date and then allow him to do a post-June 1st retirement to save extra money. It's expected. It's disappointing in the end. I wanted Zack Martin's career to end better than so many of the other Cowboys' actual legends' careers have. I wanted to be better than Tyron, better than DeMarcus Ware. And in the end, it's more just great career, Hall of Fame career, not quite the postseason success we all desperately wanted. So before we get to the rest of the pre-filmed show that was part of today's live show Zack Martin some love for his NFL Hall of Fame career by spamming 70 in the comments section. On today's Cowboys, we are breaking down the news on Micah Parsons' role this upcoming season. A potential Mazi Smith, fingers crossed, breakout. The future of Osa Odighizuwa, and some Tyler Guyton hope after the assistant coaches all spoke with media on Wednesday. Now, good news, we have overtaken in one day the 250 subscriber deficit we faced against the Commanders. We have the lead now. Let's bury them. Hit that sub button for more free Cowboys videos each and every single day, including coverage from this year's NFL Combine. Speaking with Micah Parsons, and again, this should not be a surprise in any capacity, but Matt Eberflus says Dallas will use Micah Parsons as a pass rusher, obviously. Here's what Flus said. Mike is a premier pass rusher. We're going to use him that way, certainly, and he's one heck of an athlete that can do a lot of different things for us on defense. And when you have a guy like that, you want to be able to utilize his skill set. As we're around him more, we'll see what the skill set is and take advantage of it. He knows that we'll just make him in the best light that he can be in terms of position, pass rush, and really utilizing what he does best, and that is rushing the passer. This shouldn't surprise anybody, and it's right. You don't have players very often who, over the past 4 years, have led the NFL in pressures and led the NFL in pressure rate and have had at least 12 sacks every single season. And by the way, he had 12 sacks in 13 games, and he will again be among the top contenders for Defensive Player of the Year. And if he can stay healthy and the defense isn't terrible down the stretch this year, he might win it this time. This is obvious, but it's a no-brainer. It's what you want Matt Eberflus to say. It's what he's supposed to say. You still need to see it implemented, but he hasn't had a talent like Micah Parsons before. So I'm excited to see how he uses him. Let's talk Mazi Smith. Matt Eberflus, again, had some, I would actually argue, rather optimistic comments and an answer and expectation for Mazi Smith this year when asked about him. He said, yeah, I'm excited about Mazi. I liked him coming out of Michigan. He's a real explosive athlete with a big body that can move really well. Excited about bringing his game to the next level, and he could certainly do that. So the expectation here is a bit of a breakout season for Mazi Smith, which, look, it's not like there's a lot of room to be significantly worse. And that is what has to happen for Mazi Smith as we enter year 3. We've seen in years past defensive linemen have taken a little bit longer to grow and adjust in the NFL. Go look at how long it took Quinnen Williams to get going. How about Osa, who we'll talk about here in a little bit? It took him a little bit longer to develop into the guy he is right now. I thought down the stretch last year, we saw significantly better run defense out of Mazi Smith. The pass rush wasn't as good. I think part of that is what was being asked of him from Mike Zimmer compared to Dan Quinn, and Flus kind of fits in a little bit more in the middle. Now, if you don't have confidence in Mazi, I get that. I think to an extent the blind faith department is kind of maxed out for us Cowboys fans. But do you think Mazi Smith will have a breakout season? Y for yes, N for no. It's the pinned comment on today's show. So if the ad break comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know. Matt Eberflus having some praise and excitement for Mazi Smith shouldn't be a surprise. Because on one hand, it would be very weird if a new coach was anything but positive about one of his new players who he doesn't have a real relationship with. Because that's just not how you handle any relationship in life. We do know, however, that Mazi Smith is a great athlete, that he has some rare height, weight, speed combinations, even though it has not been put together yet on the field. And we saw him play better down the stretch this past season. I think a big thing for Mazi Smith is have a normal offseason. Think about it. Coming into his first season, he's got training for the combine and all that other stuff, and it's a bit disjointed for a young guy. And last year he was rehabbing the entire time. And I think he even saw as he went on, he got really better conditioning as the year went on. I do worry about him learning another scheme because he had the Michigan scheme, Dan Quinn, to Mike Zimmer, to Matt Eberflus. That's 3 brand new schemes in as many years, 4 schemes total in 4 years. That's a lot. I think there is reason to have hope that Mazi Smith can be a much better version and start to look a little bit more like a non-bust. I also don't want to assume a breakout happens. We know what happens when you assume, and something I probably shouldn't say here on YouTube. But you need to have a viable insurance plan, a viable starting caliber option along at the nose guard spot. That's not just, hey, we signed a guy off the street in August. That's not a real plan. Today's show is made possible by PrizePicks. It is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on PrizePicks. Anyone else excited for the Four Nations finale tonight? Canada versus USA. You can get in on the Four Nations action on PrizePicks as well. This is what the couple of puck bros here at Chat Sports cooked up. McDavid, less than shots on goal. I think it's Hellebuck. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Connor Hellebuck, the USA goalie, more than saves. And Matthew Tkachuk, more than a half point as well. I'm doing the flex play, so if I get one wrong, I still come out on top. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Now, sticking with defensive line, I do think Matt Eberflus' answer on Osa Odighizuwa was kind of like, okay, really? Because he kind of was asked about him again and said, certainly Osa's a guy that we liked a lot. He's a good player for us. But look at other guys too. We're in the middle of that process right now. It's about getting the depth on the defensive line that we need. There are some good pieces there to work from. It's exciting to be able to look at that in the future in terms of the draft and acquiring other players that are special talent guys. We're excited to get that done. So was that Matt Eberflus, or did like Stephen Jones throw his voice in Matt Eberflus' mouth? Because that's what it sounds like to me. Like you went very quickly from like, yeah, we love Osa too, but draft. Like very quickly. And that was very much a non-answer. And the way I interpret it, and look, maybe I'm reading too much into it. Would not be the first time. Probably won't be the last time. The way I read that is, yeah, he's probably going to leave in free agency and get more money. Which wouldn't surprise me. Now, look, you've got Denzel Daxon, Mazi Smith, and Justin Rogers right now on your roster. You got like one reliable player. Like, that's it. So, and Mazi, reliable, is pushing it, frankly. Osa had 4.5 sacks this year. The pressures were really high. The quarterback hits were high. I think this is an ascending player. It is a guy I would like to retain if the money's right. I don't think the money's going to be right. I have my doubts Dallas would, if that $20 million number is true, we'll find out in about a month. I have some doubts there as well. But I have my doubts Dallas wants to pay him that because I don't want to pay him that. I think he's a good player. He is by far your best defensive lineman. You need to have a plan in place to replace Osa if you lose him in the open market. But I don't know if I want to give him $20 million. That's just a lot for, I think, is a good but by no means elite player. So what do you think is the percent chance the Cowboys re-sign Osa Odighizuwa? Let me know in the comment section of today's show. Also speaking was new offensive line coach Connor Riley, who also seemingly has high hopes for left tackle Tyler Guyton, who, we can say it, did not have a very good first season. Here's what Connor Riley had to say. I see a tremendous talent who has quite honestly not been playing a lot of the offensive line. The sky is truly the limit for a young man like that. There's going to be a process. There's going to be a whole lot to it. There's going to be a lot of work that's going to be involved with it. He and I are getting to know one another, but he has a tremendous skill set. I'm really excited for him to get to work with him. The biggest issue for Guyton was he turned into a big-time penalty boy last year, and you can't have that. Now, like with all penalties, not all of them were accurate, but you can't have it. I think at times, you had borderline confidence issues on Tyler Guyton where he just didn't. It's tough for a player to go play and then get benched after a mistake, and then go play again and then get benched, and then the other guys like Udoka makes a mistake and the Cowboys don't care, and that's really weird to me. Didn't understand that, frankly. The physical talent is there. That doesn't mean he'll be able to put it all together. So if you have concerns on him, I get that. I think to an extent, not everyone wanted Guyton to be drafted, and that often leads to lower confidence levels. So what is your confidence level in Tyler Guyton? Scale it for me from 1 to 10. 1 on the low end, 10 on the high end. Patrick Walker reports that the Cowboys plan to keep Tyler Guyton at left tackle. I want to see if that remains the plan after the draft, depending on what ends up happening with free agency and the roster moves you actually make. But I know not everyone will agree with me. I actually have no issues doing that. I get that Guyton played right tackle at Oklahoma. He played left tackle before that, too, even at Oklahoma when he was a backup. Guyton had issues last year. He's still a bit of a lunger and a head dropper, and the penalties. All of his issues, which there were too many, they are all fixable, however. And those issues are still there if you put him on the right side of the offensive line. They don't suddenly go away. That's not how his issues in particular work. Guyton was a raw, high upside draft pick who I think we all would have felt a lot better about if you had a more established veteran left tackle in there to start for you. He needs development. Everyone knew that going in. He needs reps. He needs time. The single biggest thing for Guyton right now, got to stay healthy. You can't get reps. You can't get development, and you can't get time if you're as banged up as he was last year. That, I think, is an underrated element of concern as it relates to Tyler Guyton. There's a lot riding on him this season. Hopefully, the combo of Clayton Adams, Connor Riley, and getting rid of, football bad man, last offensive line coach ends up being a positive thing for you, Mike Solari. And hopefully it leads to better development for Guyton, because there's a lot riding on him, because you can't miss on a first-round pick at offensive tackle when, in the Cowboys' case, they haven't missed on that spot in that round in a kind of a long time.